Welcome to week 10 of Arthur's Geography blog. Today I'm going to be talking about global availability of food. And the question is, identify global patterns of calorie intake as one measure of one measure of food availability in a country. So calorie intake is basically the amount of calories an average person consumes on a daily basis of a nation. And this could be very helpful to see whether a country is either over nutritious, whether they're eating too little, because the average amount of calories a person should consume is around 2,000 calories for women and around 2,300 for men. And so we could see, and you could see actually, whether people in the country eating too little or they're eating too much. And eating too little and eating too much both leads to very problematic diseases, such as eating too much may lead to obesity and diabetes, while eating too little just will lead to malnutrition and starvation. So two examples of opposite ends of the spectrum is the USA with the highest amount of calorie intake with 3,770, which is nearly twice as much as they should be eating. And the Democratic Republic of Congo is one of the lower values with 1,590 on average calorie intake. So you could clearly see that USA is currently undergoing I wouldn't say obesity epidemic, but the large amount of the population is getting under threat of obesity. And just by looking at the data, they're eating 3,000. On average, a person eats nearly 4,000 calories a day. That is, the mean, not the mean, the value that people should be eating is around 2,400, and 2,800 if you're athletic is very high. It could be easily explained. As with the Democratic Republic of Congo, you can see that there's undernutrition going on there. Many people aren't being fed sufficiently. However, there are a few limitations on. So you could clearly see that the Democratic Republic of Congo has very minimal food availability. But however, the calorie intake as a measurement has some limits. For example, India has an average calorie intake of 2,300, which is directly in the middle, in the mean of how much calories somebody should intake. However, India is ranks the 20th in the global hunger index. So it's through the global hunger index is it ranks 20th as the country. It's the 20th most starving country in the world. Third in Asia, just behind Afghanistan and Pakistan. So what this tells us is that the calorie intake, it basically rounds up all the populations. Whether the person is rich or poor, they kind of average that out. So with India especially, there's a huge social, I wouldn't say pyramid structure, but a huge social contrast with the very rich and the very poor, and the very poor being extremely poor, and the rich being very rich and wealthy, being able to afford so much food, while the poor is not, are starving on the streets of India. So there's these two huge contrasts that when you take the average of them both, it kind of, it averages on a healthy amount, which that's what it comes to. However, in fact, India is suffering from both extremes, extreme eating too much and extreme eating too little. So yeah, other restrictions of the calorie intake as a form of measurement of food availability is that it does not measure it only measures calories but not the nutrients. So maybe if you only eat spaghetti, like forget I said that. So in order for a human to stay healthy, the person needs a variety of food. Like, albeit it depends on what lifestyle you choose. So some lifestyles you need to eat more foods and different variety of foods, but on average you need a well balanced diet of carbs, proteins, vegetables, vitamins, so on and so forth. However, calorie intake does not measure this. So if a person is eating 2,000 calories of spaghetti, which is like carbs, no protein, no vegetables, no minerals, other nutrients and such, they're not eating. They're eating sufficiently, but they're not eating enough. No, wait, no, they're eating sufficiently, but they're not eating enough variety, which can lead to malnutrition, as eating eating a very restricted amount of foods, can lead to problems, such as one off the top of my head is scurvy occurs when you don't eat enough vitamin C, which is like scurvy is when your gums start to bleed and stuff. So without eating enough vitamin C, which you could be finding in practically most fruits, especially in oranges, could lead to such diseases. But there are much more serious diseases other than scurvy that could pose to be extremely life-threatening. So yeah, there's other restrictions, but the calorie intake can also give you, like, if a country is too low on the mean, as the Democratic Republic of Congo, 1590, you can see that that's very low, and that country is having a problem with eating, undernutrition, no, malnutrition, no, starvation. You're not eating enough. So the country is suffering from not eating enough. But however, if you're getting more into the average zone, you have to look more into the countries such as India. India seems to be, on the border, of safe, perfect value, but however, it is suffering from a lot of things. Sorry, Miss Sarah, that this episode is a bit long. Didn't go through most of my points as quick as I wanted to. Hope you have a nice night, and I'll try to get the next one up as soon as possible.